from our research and then going back to the book you mentioned that I co-authored, Keto, the Complete Guide. I'm really proud of that book, even to this day. I mean, it's what, 5, 6 years old now since we wrote that, but all the science in there, in the biology, in the biochemistry, I think still stands up really well today. So I'm very proud of that. And one of the things we talked about in there is, and 5, 6 years ago, in the carnivore community, this is pretty well known now, but 5, 6 years ago, a lot of people didn't know this. I didn't even know this 7, 8 years ago when I was writing the book. The most nutrient dense food you can eat is pretty much animal protein. And so I dedicated a whole chapter in that book to look at these charts, look at how much I picked out, like the top 13 most essential vitamins and minerals, and look and compared animal proteins like a steak, beef, to kale, to blueberries, to apples, all these things that we're told are superfoods, right? And it just blew them out of the water. There's no comparison. Just the steak has so many more vitamins and minerals. And at the time I'd been in, researching nutrition, for, I don't know, 6, 8 years at that point, and I didn't know this. And so I'm like, this needs to be more known, right? And so we made that whole chapter in the book, and we've always, using that knowledge and background, we were always in this place of, we know this has all the vitamins and minerals. We know we need protein to build muscle and maintain muscle and stay strong, especially as we get older. So protein needs to be and by the way, if you're trying to lose weight, more protein and less carbs and maybe a little less fat really helps with weight loss. Protein has a high thermic effect of food, which means you burn a lot of calories digesting protein, a lot more than you do from carbs or fat. And so, all of these things kind of add up to, we need to prioritize protein. And that's how we've always kind of been. To go further and cut out all the plants, that's totally fine. We look at it as more of a choice. If you want the variety to have some plants, low carb vegetables, great, do it. If you don't have, immune system problems like me and you can tolerate it, great, go for it. But I also don't think that going fully to carnivore is negative in any way. Like, there's no negatives to it as far as like developing deficiencies or any these kind of things. And I would also point to, in that case, our ancestors. So if you go back 50,000 years ago and you look at the early humans and Neanderthals, and you look at what they ate, how did they become human in the first place, right? Because at that point, suddenly we got smarter, bigger brains. We learned how to make fire and do all these things, right? And hunt, and tools. What was happening? What were we eating to make us evolve that way and change? Well, there's tons of studies now on this. They look at fossilized bone collagen, and they look at the nitrogen content. And by the types of nitrogen groups that are in that, you can tell what kind of protein they ate and how much. And so was it plant proteins or was it animal proteins, and how much, right? Every one of these studies show that those early humans were apex carnivores. They ate almost entirely animal proteins and were on the top of the food chain. And so, if you think of that from the current state where we're talking about carnivore, do I think it's superior? I think it's definitely how the body's designed to process mainly animal proteins.